Welcome to the relationship series. I'm your host, Genevieve. We have some special guests in the place today for Girl, Leave That Misery Alone. Introduce yourself.
Kalenea.
Introduce yourself.
Candi.
And here we are. Today, we are talking about leaving those situations that we don't need to be in and that keep us miserable. I have the definition of misery right here, just in case we need a refresher. The definition of misery: a state or feeling of great distress or discomfort of mind or body. So mind and body, we got both of them in here. So misery can look like a lot of things. It can look like relationships that don't serve you. It could look like staying in jobs that don't serve you. It could look like staying in friendships that don't serve you. It could look like going on vacations and staying too long. Times of my life when I have felt miserable have been most often in relationships that no longer serve me. And I was trying to hold on. I'm trying to do the most. I'm trying to pretend that things aren't bothering me. I'm addressing things. I'm trying to put boundaries in place, but it's still feeling kind of bad, kind of sucky. So we're going to talk about some things today, different kinds of misery, because we know misery love company. And then we can have like a cool discussion. We'll ask ourselves some self-awareness questions as per usual. And then we'll look at, why do we stay? What does leaving mean for us? And then we will talk about what misery can look like on the outside. And we'll also look at the types of misery that we stay in and what leaving actually looks like. Okay? All right, let's jump in. So I always start with a personal story. I used to work for a government organization, and probably about 2 years in, I realized that's not the place I wanted to be, and I didn't want to retire there. I had a team leader who went away for a while, and I didn't know where he went. He came back, and he came straight to my desk. It was probably about 6 to 8 weeks later, and I was like, hey, we'll call him Henry. I was like, hey, so where have you been? And he was like, listen, I had a heart attack, and I had to have a quadruple bypass surgery. And he lifted up his shirt, and he showed me this scar from the top of his chest all the way down past his navel. And he was like, yeah, I'm in recovery. I just came by to say hello to everyone. And he said, Jen, don't get stuck here. Like, I'll never forget that day. He had gotten there when he was like a teenager on co-op. He really wanted to be a writer, and he ended up getting a job with the government, thought it was the be-all, end-all, and he stayed there till well into his 60s. And at the time, I was doing stage productions, and he was sort of into the creative drama thing. And he was like, Jen, if that's your dream, if that's what you want to do, girl, leave. That was his version of girl, leave, because he knew that that was my passion. I remember after that, I started my exit plan. I was like, yeah, no, I can't stay here for the rest of my life doing like CRA, accounting, numbers, taxes. Not for me at all. That was my clarion call to, girl, leave this misery alone. And I did all the planning to get out of that space. So that was my girl leave moment. And I share that one because I feel like that's one that many of us can relate to. It wasn't a bad job. It was actually a great job. I got benefits. I got lots of leaves, lots of time off. I had lots of like free time in the day. It wasn't stressful, but it wasn't for me. I think sometimes we stay because it's not terrible. It's not awful. It's comfortable. And that can be such a deception because we're not happy. We're not fulfilled. We don't feel purposed. You know, we wake up, do the same thing every day kind of thing. But it's not anything that's meaningful to us in the moment, maybe in the days, the weeks, the months, even in the years. It may be fine. But when you look back over 10 years, over 15 years, and you start to wonder, where's my life going? What am I doing with my life? You start asking these questions and you find there's resentment building up, or you find there's regret building up. You find there's grief and pain building up. That's going to start taking a toll on how you live the rest of your life. And so we have to start looking at some of the reasons why we stay. Real question. Why do smart, strong, beautiful women stay in situations that are making them miserable? That's your question for today. Why? Why do we stay?
I think for me, I think it's easy to get caught up in the everyday. We just get caught up in the everyday misery, the mundaneness, I guess, of it all, sometimes misery can numb you to seeing beyond what's in front of you. So I'll share my story. For me, the year was 2009. I had a good job. I was working for a Christian company. I had a good set of friends. I had a routine. I went to a church. But I believe that I got to a place where what I went to school to study for, I was not using it. The job I had was good, paid the bills, but it wasn't something I was excited about. It was a job to pay the bills, and I got my 2 weeks every year. And I knew inside of me that I wanted more. I wanted a job that spoke to some aspect of me, either to my creativity. I studied science, so some aspect of that. What I was doing was not addressing any part of me that brought joy or pleasure. And so I knew it, and I was like, okay, Kalenea, like this is for now, but we should probably do something else. And I think I got really used to getting up and going to work and paying my bills. And as time went on, I'm like, I could do that, but I don't know. I could do that, but then I'd have to go back to school. I could do that, but I don't think I have the skill sets for that. I could do that, but. And the list of things that seemed to disqualify me from what I actually wanted to do, from anything that seemed to spark excitement in me, the list was getting longer and longer of the list that I came up with. Not to say that any of it was true, and quite honestly, very little was true, but yet still I used it as a reason to, okay, maybe not that, maybe not that. And even if other people from outside were like, you would be great at that, I would take it in one ear, and the negative internal take that was on 1,000 at the time was like, yeah, but, and then the list, to the point where I really just became numb to the everyday. I would get up in the morning, bathe my skin, go to work, come home, sit on the edge of my bed, eat my dinner, watch a couple more shows, go to bed. Get up in the morning,
Autopilot.
bathe my skin, and then some days I would go, because I was on the worship team at the time, so Friday nights I would eat my dinner, I would go to church, sing, with friends. I might go out a couple times. I was on a choir. I would go to rehearsal, with friends. I would go home, sit on the edge of my bed, stare into oblivion, go to bed. Sometimes I would cry. Sometimes I'm like, is this my life forever? And it came to a point, I remember the beginning of 2009 started. It was New Year's, and I was on holiday from my work. And I remember sitting, and I'm Christian, and I remember the Lord saying to me, the time for you to take action is now. Apply for a job, apply, go to school. Those are your two issues. Those are your two options. And I was like, I have money for neither. And he said, which he still says to me, he's like, did I ask you any of that? Apply for school or apply for a new job? And he's like, actually school, but job is okay. I just needed a shift. I needed a change. And I remember identifying a program, and I was like, I really could do that. I ended up shifting the program afterwards, but even still, I identified the program, and I went to my mom, and I was like, Mommy, I really feel the need to go back to school. And I'm like, it's a burning need. Like, I have to do this. Can you help me pay for it? And she was like, we'll work it out. And she gave me the money to apply for it, the program. I got into the program, and I got a bursary that paid for my first year.
Wow.
So I didn't even have to worry about paying for school. And then that was the first shift. And then I was like, I don't want to work and go to school at the same time. And the Lord was like, I don't want you to work and go to school, at least not work here. So I left my job, and I was able to get a job on campus that worked with my school schedule. And so I could work when I had free time. Towards the end of the summer in August, the last of this, 2009 was the transition year for me. The last of the big three changes was some things were happening at my church. And I was like, I just feel like this is the year where big shifts need to happen. And this is one of the changes that I really need to make. And I left my church that I had been going to since I was 16. This is the church that I grew up in my faith and I grew up in maturity where I established great relationships. And I was like, well, it's time to see what these relationships are made of because I'm not coming here anymore.
Not coming back.
So
You're leaving.
I
Things
was
that-
like,
no,
I'm leaving. And I left. I actually
Girl, leave. Girl,
I
leave
left
that church
for
alone.
like a
No, I'm
week
joking.
or a week or 2 weeks, and then I actually wrote my pastor a letter and I put it in the mailbox because I felt like I needed the closure on that. And it was just interesting because a lot of the things that I told myself and that I used to disqualify myself from actually hoping and dreaming or thinking what is possible for Kalenea, things are possible for Candi. Like the sky's the limit. Things are possible for Genevieve. The sky's the limit. This girl's brilliant. She can literally go and do anything. But I'm different. I'm not like Candi. I'm not like Genevieve. And so I have a job. I should be happy with the job I have. I live somewhere. I should be happy with the place that I'm living in. It's nice to want stuff, but like Kalenea, it's really not going to get any better than this. That put me into a state of like autopilot catatonia, where you just get up in the morning, you show up where you need to show up, and you show up enough where people don't ask you questions. Because if they ask you questions, it's going to be a whole situation. And also sometimes you, in the midst of it, because you're just so numb to everything that's going around, that you don't necessarily have the language to answer the questions. And if you're honest, you don't want to answer the questions. And so you smile
Yeah,
enough.
'cause you have to confront yourself.
Yes, and you smile long enough to get to your safe place where you can just fall apart.
Right.
If you choose to let yourself fall apart, which didn't always happen. That was in 2009. We're in 2026. What is that, 15 years ago? Geez, no, 17 years ago.
17 years.
Wow. 17 years ago. And I have since switched programs. I got a new job actually in the field that I wanted to do. And even now, I'm currently in another shifting transition season. But I can say that the growth that has happened from my girl, leave it moment, I'm dealing with the transition a whole lot better and with a whole lot more insights and confidence and emotional stability than I did. Like it didn't get to like if I don't leave, I don't know who I am. Like I don't know what I'm gonna look like. I don't know what I'm gonna say. All that kind of stuff. I don't even know how we started this.
I just asked. I asked, why do strong, beautiful, smart women stay in situations?
Yes, because they don't feel like better is available to them.
Right.
That's why.
So there's an element of like unworthiness, undeservedness. But then you mentioned, and I don't think I've thought of it in this way before, because misery, again, can look like a lot of things. It can look like comfort. It can look like sense of stability or security in a relationship, in a marriage, financially, or in a career, or in a certain field or industry. So I get that. But you actually mentioned catatonia, this numbness, this autopilot, this doing life every day the same way over and over and over again.
Rinse and repeat.
Right. That idea attached to misery. So it can go both ways.
Right.
Because that can be a sense of fulfillment. We're in a routine, we have something stable going on, and so on. But it is the internal source of that behavior that determines whether or not it's subject to a girl leave moment. And so if you recognize that there's more in store for you, that you can do more, or that it's coming from an internal tape that tells you that this is not for you because you're unworthy or undeserving or in some way less capacitated, and what's the word? Having less capacity than others, then that's the source that you need to tackle. I need to actually leave this situation because this situation is born out of fear. This situation is born out of low self-esteem, lack of self-confidence, or lack of self-trust or self-doubt. So misery can look like numbness.
I think that if you're in a place of like routine, but like the routine is something that you've dreamed of.
Right.
If it is that, let's say you've always wanted to be a mother and now you're a mother of 2 kids and you have a dog and a husband. You are a homemaker, so you get up and you cook breakfast for your family and you put the kids off to school and you clean the house and like you're like, oh my gosh, this is the house that I've always wanted. This is the family that I've always wanted. I've always wanted a golden retriever. We have one. I get to walk this dog every day. I get to feed my 2 kids every day. I get to clean the house, and I'm spreading the beds, and I'm so grateful. That's entirely different than, oh my gosh,
I'm crying on
and this
that.
dog, I didn't even really want this dog, but the kids wanted this dog, and the dog needs to be walked. Now I have to go outside and walk the dog. And this husband of mine, my goodness, like, I love him, but if he would just, like, you're right, it's the source of it. It's what you tell, like, how you approach the situation. Even one can switch to the other, and the situation itself doesn't change, but your perspective can change.
Absolutely.
It's interesting to me that the same situation, the outside cannot change, but your internal, how you react to it, can change. And it can go from misery to joy, or joy to misery, or misery to joy to misery, depending on how.
No, it's true.
Yeah,
it's
it's
true.
really interesting.
So the circumstance itself is not necessarily the thing. It doesn't always have to be the environment or the place or the position or the relationship. It can actually be an internal leaving of a particular stance, perspective, or approach to that same situation. If you think about what you were saying, if you think about a mother in a marriage and they decide to do the work on themselves and come up with a different perspective on their lives, and then they find fulfillment in that, they didn't leave their situation. They just left their mentality or their mindset associated with that situation. I love the nuances of this conversation because I'm very much like, girl, leave the thing, the place, the country, the job, the relationship. Like, I'm out, like, and it's a wrap. But I'm also about leave that mentality, that mindset, that attitude, and that approach. And so the nuances are important to talk about, because how do we know when we need to stay and work on leaving a particular mentality associated with that situation, as opposed to when we need to cut? We're talking about jobs that make you cry on Sunday night because you don't want to go, and you know nothing's going to change, which is why the girl leave moment is when you recognize you can't change enough to find fulfillment in that situation. You can't do anything more for yourself, within yourself, and so you have to leave. But what about if you search yourself and you can find within you the ability to transform your outlook? Oh man, that's so good. Woo, how many of us can do? Oh, that sounds so hard. Anyway, okay, let's talk about. You said you want to talk about. Share with us. Talk to us.
So I'm actually I wasn't gonna actually talk about my personal experience per se, but just like maybe a mindset, and I'm gonna relate it back to that last statement that you just made. So, long story short, I've always had a fear of growing old by myself. I've seen it. I work in healthcare, and I see older people grow old by themselves. And I used to reflect when I used to hear their stories and look at their experiences, even when I'm not seeing people visiting them. And I was like, I don't want that to be me. I don't want to grow old by myself. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to die alone. And I think that comes from feelings of abandonment from when I was a young child, growing up in a single parent home. And so again, with the fear of being alone, fear of dying alone, there's also that fear of abandonment. So I fear leaving because I don't want to be alone, not because I think I should stay. I know I need to leave. But I don't ever want to do what's been done to me. So I always treat people the way I want to be treated. But then I know there's a possibility that I'm not going to be treated the way I would treat somebody. So it's really complex, right?
Yeah, it's layered.
It's really complex in not wanting to die alone, not wanting to grow alone, but being aware that being in a specific situation, you might just end up being alone anyways. My personal experience happened just a couple of years ago, and it has to do with a relationship, and the person walked away. They walked away, and at first I was in denial. I was like, is this really happening? My brain glitched. And so I had to go through a period first of trying to understand what was happening, because I was grieving and I was in denial. And then when it hit me, and I was like, oh, well, I actually don't have a choice. I've got to just move forward by myself because that's what's happening. There's no way to get out of it, and nothing else is gonna. There's nothing I can do. Like what you said, there's nothing I can do at this point. There's nothing more I can do that's going to change the outcome of this specific situation. So let me now heal, work on myself, and move forward by myself. And you could be doing all the things: encouragement, prayer. I'm also a Christian. All these things, but there's this emptiness that you're just kind of like, what really just happened? You kind of walk with it, and you don't always know how to manage it because it becomes very complex now when you're in other relationships, and not necessarily intimate relationships, just relationships in general. Because then I saw how those feelings now of abandonment have come up again, and how now I was also holding on to friendships that weren't providing any growth, right? My circle wasn't getting bigger, don't get me wrong, but my circle could have gotten smaller. But I was like, how do I actually let go of because up until this point, there were no issues, but now I'm like, wait a second, this is not serving me anymore. Based on where I am, this is not serving me anymore. But how do I leave? I can't just leave. I can't leave. Like, we've never left. What do you mean? So my brain has been glitching for a couple years. I'm in a glitch. I feel like I'm in a glitch right now too, because it's also to a constant fight. But Candi, it's like the kind of convincing. We'll try one more time. But Candi, this is your this is your purpose.
That's it.
And this is how you benefit. And this is how. But this is taking way more. This is making me miserable. Right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so then this thing came about that my sister Genevieve, and I was like, what does this mean? Like, I'm still processing what this means. And when I tell you, because I'm sure she sensed it, but it brings out like the most anxiety-inducing fear. Because when you have sisters and friends that call to attention the level of accountability that you must take when decisions you make have to do with you, then you realize, well, yeah, you might have to leave, right? But then you make excuses. Well, I have to do it on my terms. And 3 years later, you're still doing it on your terms? You're still going to do it on your terms?
But that brings up a good point.
Right.
Does leaving have a timeline? Does leaving require for you to do it? I'm a quick leaver.
Right.
Because I don't
I would
like
say
misery.
The answer has to be yes.
And I don't like pain.
If it doesn't have a timeline, that means that you could stay put. At which point you're not leaving, you're staying put, and you're just lying to yourself.
It's girl leave or girl leaving.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what
I've been leaving for the last.
But does Star Wars say do or do not? There is no try. Do or do not. There is no try. You leave.
And
I
that's
feel
where
like-
the contention, that's where you're battling.
Yes.
It's like your flesh and your spirit and your soul. Everything's battling each other, right? Because then you're like, do I have to do this right now?
Right.
Or can I wait till Friday? You can.
And that's like leaving an old mindset or leaving an old lifestyle when you want to start at the gym and you're like, oh, I'll start on Monday.
I'll start tomorrow.
Or I'll start tomorrow. I'll start after this birthday party. Or I'll start after so-and-so's wedding.
And so one thing I recognize about myself is when things, decisions, attitudes, behaviors have to do with me and the reflection of me and they only affect me, I can leave in 2 points. Like, I don't even think about it. I realize that because part of my character is really concerned about people and relationships and how they're going to feel, that's when I turn into leaving versus just leave. Because then I go back to, how would I want to be treated in this situation? Right? And I'm not saying that people have to delay their decision. They don't have to delay their decision when it comes to me. I'm resilient. I'll get over it. I care so much about people relationships that I fear the aftermath. Like whatever that person's gonna go through, that's what I fear. And like maybe that's centering things around me. And maybe it has nothing to do with I don't know. But I fear what happens to that person if I'm just like, listen, this is what happens, this is what needs to happen, and this is why I can't do this, boom, and I walk out the door. I'm a mental health professional. I don't want suicides on my block. I don't want suicidal ideation on my block. I don't want psychosis on my block. I don't want any of it, right? I don't know how graceful I can be, especially when when I'm fed up. When I get to that girl leave and I'm fed up, that's when I'm just like, I'm very abrupt about things. And I'm very aware. But I think that's where it comes from, is that fear of versus abandonment, fear of abandoning.
Yeah.
And so it's because because now I'm responsible versus when it only has to be with me, when it only has to, like, listen to me, and the gym.
What would only have to do with you?
Gym. Personal fitness, career, education,
okay.
anything
Yeah.
anything that doesn't require
point.
me to consult with somebody else about, except
So-
for God himself.
Relationships with things and with yourself as opposed to relationship with people.
People.
And that's a great distinction to make because you're talking about lifestyle functionality versus attachments.
Right.
And we all know attachments are...
Yeah. It's a really good point that you make
They're a
when
thing.
you're talking
Yeah.
about not wanting to cause others the pain that you're currently feeling. I wholly get it as a people pleaser in healing. I definitely
Girl, leave that people.
it is easy. What I understand is that the human experience is we can only understand things the way our personal brain works, right? We only see things, we only understand the things through our own perspective. And so we feel like Genevieve, unless Genevieve offers another point, we think I can't break up with Genevieve because my heart's going to hurt, so it's going to hurt her heart. It's likely going to be true. But like the way that we deal with pain and the way our heart hurts and the way our life will be impacted from it will be mirrored on their end, which is
Right.
not necessarily
No.
true because they are their own person. They have their own process, and they also could really care less. There are imbalances in relationships where one person is far more invested than the other, where there's power imbalances and all that kind of stuff. So I think that when we're talking about, a couple things came to mind when we're talking about girl leave, is you don't have to be mean about it, but you should be honest with yourself and with the other person. What is it that you always say? Clarity is kindness. So be clear about why you're leaving. If you are in a position where you still are able to have audience with that person, and quite honestly, if they are somewhat deserving of it, because sometimes people do things, you don't have to give an explanation as to why you're leaving. There are definitely situations where that is, especially if your personal safety is in question and all that kind of stuff, right? But if you're in a position where you can have an audience with that person, you can be like, look, this is how I'm currently feeling in the relationships. This is how I'm feeling. This is how I'm seeing. This is what I've been dealing with. I have tried A, B, C, and D. It's not working for me. So I bless you on all your future endeavors, but I don't think we need to continue.
God bless you for all your future endeavors.
I don't think we need to continue, right? Or sometimes you just shift how much you show up, especially when it comes to friendships or like mild friendships to long term. Like maybe you don't go to all the outings anymore. Maybe you just gauge how much of yourself you pour into such relationships. Sometimes it just requires a slight shift. You know what I
You
mean?
just give me an idea.
Okay.
Okay, finish your point.
Sorry. So I was saying, but the point I really wanted to make
interrupted
is
both.
that the truth of the matter is that you are not responsible for other people's feelings, for other people's actions. So if I'm saying, if we're in a relationship and I'm like, this relationship needs to come to an end, it's not serving me, I can say it's not really serving you either, but you want to stay in it. You can stay here if you want to, but I'm going. Person chooses to deal with me leaving the situation is not my responsibility. I'm a grown woman. I don't get into relationships with children. So they are responsible for them. I can speak with wisdom. I can speak with kindness. I can speak with clarity. I can speak with honesty. I can speak with gentleness. But at the end of the day, I'm still leaving. It's still 4:45 and I gave myself to 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, I'm leaving. How you deal with your life at 5:01 is for you to work out. I'm not your therapist. Call Jen. But I'm just saying, like, you sometimes some of the things that keep us bound is the feeling that we are responsible for other people's process. And we're not. And then we're talking about girl leave versus girl leaving. Like, do I leave on
that.
Thursday or should I postpone it till Saturday? And the thought that came to my mind is, I mean, it's completely up to you, but do I want my journey to joy and my journey to healing and my journey to wholeness to start on Friday, or do I want it to start on Sunday? I'd really rather it start sooner than later. So I'm going to leave on Thursday. It might be super difficult, but the truth of the matter is we as humans will say, we always say we'll start tomorrow. And so we can say we're going to leave on Saturday, but Saturday will come and I'm actually hungry right now. So hold on, let me make myself something to eat. And but Jen's calling me to go to the movie. So, and I don't want to leave at 3:00 when I'm going to be in shambles. And now Jen's going to have to deal with me in shambles at the movies. Right. So it's okay. I'll just deal with it on Sunday. But on Sunday, like he goes to church or whatever, and I go to church and I don't want to think about it. So I'll deal with it on Monday. Tomorrow will never come. Right. So it's really better to do it as soon as possible.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Take whatever necessary time and be honest with yourself. Take whatever necessary time to come up with a plan and to know exactly what is it that you want. And is it leaving really what you want, or you just want to shift in the dynamics? Can there be a shift in the dynamics without you having to leave? Or is leaving forever? Is it leaving for 2 weeks? Is it leaving for 6 weeks? You can make those decisions beforehand, but like saying tomorrow versus in 5 minutes from now, and it's really just you procrastinating the pain, it's inevitable. Because you're really just procrastinating your misery. Pain will stay here as well.
Okay, so let's bring this down to earth. So have you ever done this?
Have I ever left?
Yes.
Yes.
Like a relationship?
Yes.
Okay, so talk about what that actually looked like on the ground.
I faded into the bushes like Homer.
I faded into the bushes.
I was mean.
So this is my thing.
I was mean.
Fade into the bushes versus mean.
I was mean.
So we're talking idealistically here. What leaving or leave could potentially look like should we have thought about it and prayed about it and planned for it and created scripts and talked to people and had transformational conversations and expressed ourselves vulnerably and asked for this and put boundaries in place and blah, 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 and done all the things, theoretically speaking.
Yeah.
But most of us don't do that. That's just the truth. Some of us fade into the bushes,
like
and some of us are just rude, and we just be like, yo, forget you.
Yeah.
I'm out, and you done did this to me and all that to me, and I'm out.
Yeah.
But ideally, in a situation where there is mutual friendship, romance, relationship, interaction, or value, not just for relationships in general, but value for a relationship with this person, then the leave wouldn't necessarily happen. The leaving would be happening.
Right.
When you decided after all of the leaving to leave, you've already come to a sound decision based on what has happened during the leaving process. There was a study they did, I think it's 70% of divorces are filed by women. A lot of women who file for divorce talk about having checked out of the marriage years, not days, weeks, or months. We're talking about years before they actually file for divorce or ask for a divorce or start to talk to their spouse about separation. So we're talking about a period of grieving. We're talking about a period of loss of dreams, loss of ideals. I thought it was going to be a different thing. Like I didn't expect this. And okay, I've tried to make this different or better for me or for the people involved, and it didn't work, or it hasn't worked up until now, or I feel like I'm trapped. So the leaving process is the dealing with the emotions, is the dealing with the grieving, the loss, is the dealing with the disappointment due to unmet expectations. It's all of that stuff. And then the leave happens. It's like, I can't change anything else.
Right.
I gotta go.
Right.
I gotta create something different for myself. Now, in relationships, and we're talking about friendships, yes, ideally, if we have an issue, we have a problem, and I'm like, yeah, girl, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna fade into the bushes?
Literally.
And then all of a sudden, Kalenia's like, a live check, where are you, girl? And I'm like, fading into the bushes, or I blocked Kalenia on everything, and she's like, girl, what's going on? I don't understand how come I can't see your socials anymore. That's crazy work. If we're in a relationship, she should know that something's going on. In a relationship of any sort, friendship or romance, there should be some kind of leaving conversations that say, hey, something is not working anymore. Hey, I'm not feeling good about this anymore. Can we work something out? Can we renegotiate? I'm in a different life phase and stage. My expectations are different. I'm in a different life stage or phase, and my requirements are different. My desires are different. My way of presenting is different. Like, what can I do so that we can, and we've had conversations like this as well. We've known each other for 30 plus years. So as our relationship has evolved and changed, and as we've changed, we're growing in different areas. We've had to have different conversations and renegotiate what we need and want, what we now value in relationship versus what we can let go. And I think that conversation has to come from a place of self-awareness. I recognize that I don't feel good in this anymore. This is numbing for me. I'm showing up. I'm not present. I'm not enjoying myself. I'm not giving anymore. I'm not generous anymore. I know for me, if I'm not giving you my time, it's a wrap. You already know I've left.
Yeah.
I am leaving. I'm girl leave.
Yeah.
Guarantee. If I'm giving you my time, then you're in my heart somewhere. Like they got my time. They got my time. So you have to know, what's happening in the relationship so that you can have the conversations, the leaving conversations, so that it's not disappearing. See this ghosting business? See,
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm not from the ghosting generation. This thing is weird to me, that people just fall off the face of the earth. Like, we've been intimate, or we've been
that's
in an
ridiculous.
intimate friendship relationship. There's been emotional exchange, and then all of a sudden, you're no longer.
You're also denying yourself so much.
Oh my goodness.
So much growth. What are you afraid of? Why can you sleep with somebody but not say goodbye?
Wild. Guys, don't do that.
Just wondering.
Don't do that. Why were we even talking about that? What leaving looks like. Leaving can look like a lot of things.
Yep.
That moment when you realize that you can't change anything and you need to leave, that's where the strategy comes in. That's where the exit plan comes in. That's where you need to start saying, okay, how am I going to do this? How would I like for this to be done to me if it were to be done to me?
Right.
What kinds of conversations would I like to have? What would I like to express? It may not be in a face-to-face conversation. It may be too hard to do that. Does it need to be in a letter dropped off in the mailbox? We have a lot of text message conversations these days. I'm over the texts. But anyway, I think we need to value each other in our relationships enough to have those conversations. And I don't know, for me, it's like, it's more misery to not have the conversation and not know what's going on. To be left on read, or to be left in the unknown. You don't know where people stand. Why not just ask questions and answer questions? We need to have more conversations.
Absolutely.
When you're talking about abandonment, especially as women, we are not socialized or taught to be alone. We are taught to be with others, which I think aligns with our humanity. As humans, we are supposed to be with others. Okay, here are some questions to ask ourselves. I like self-awareness questions. What am I tolerating that is slowly teaching me that I do not matter? What keeps happening in my life that I keep calling normal, even though it hurts me? What would I stop doing if I believed I was worthy of peace? What would I walk away from if I knew I would survive it? I love that one. What would I walk away from if I knew that I would survive it?
I mean, I walk away from everything.
Oh my God, so much.
My job.
I walk away from everything.
Yes, you did. Oh, say it again.
My job.
Oh my gosh. There's so much. Fear is such bondage. But I can't do it because this, because that. Fear of other people's perception is a big deal too.
Yeah.
Oh, what's so-and-so going to think? Oh gosh. Okay. Who benefits from me staying small?
Oh.
AKA, who benefits from me staying miserable?
Who benefits?
I was gonna say no one, but there's always somebody.
There's always
Oh,
someone. If
yeah.
you're always tired, you're always exhausted, you can't speak up, you can't express yourself, there's somebody that benefits from that. You're trying not to ruffle somebody's feathers. Whose feathers? Who are you disappointing? Whose expectations are you not meeting? What identity are you trying to avoid? Who are you becoming or not becoming? Woo! By staying in that. Who are you becoming or not becoming? Are you becoming the person you want to become? Who benefits from me doubting myself? What if the version of you that is exhausted is not the most authentic version of you? What if the version of you that is miserable is not the most authentic version of you? What are you willing to give up in order to meet the best version of you? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do to meet the best version of you?
Sorry, can you pause there for a second?
Go ahead.
Because I think that a lot of people are just saying, "Don't mind me, I'm just miserable," and so they take on
They
misery
take on misery as though it's
As a-
normal.
As an identity.
as as their sense of identity.
Yes.
And I don't know you from Adam,
My
but
goodness.
I'm telling you, you are not. You were never created to be miserable.
Right.
That is not your best life.
But
It
also
may-
too, miserable is it's an adverb. Like it's a feeling. It's not
an
it's-
identity.
It's not,
a source of foundation.
It's not something you're supposed to be using to describe somebody's character or personality, right? Like it's a feeling. Their behavior might be miserable. Their behavior.
You might be feeling miserable, but it's not who you are.
And it's not supposed to be something permanent either. Like,
No.
it's something that you're putting on permanently as part of who you are. Your
And it
identity,
doesn't fit. I'm telling you right now.
right? There's no longer this.
It doesn't fit anybody.
It doesn't fit any.
Maybe you need to leave yourself. Like that's like I'm wondering, like why is it a permanent part of your identity?
I just wanted to put that out there
Right.
because misery is a coat that fits no one.
No one.
That's why it never looks good on anybody.
Doesn't.
Anybody.
It's not cute.
It's
not
not.
cute.
Anybody.
And let me be clear. So we're joking around. We're laughing.
But
This is real. And it's not to shame anybody. And it's not to tell you you're so terrible for staying in your misery. But it's to say that you are undeserving of that label, that title, that existence. You are undeserving of that. You are not supposed to ever be in misery.
Right.
It's not like a shame. Oh, shame on you for being miserable. No, this is, girl, leave that misery alone.
Right.
It is not for you. It doesn't
for
fit
you.
you. It doesn't look good on you. It doesn't look good on any of us.
It doesn't benefit you at all. It doesn't.
And we want more for you. You want more for you.
Right.
You may not want more for you now, right now, but we want more for you. So this is permission. This is invitation. This is like summons. This is like, come, join us. Girl, leave that misery alone. We've been there. We've been there on many different levels in many different areas of our lives. And I can say, I'll speak for myself, it is better over here on the other side of leave and leaving. It is. It is. It's not that it's easier or that everything always goes wonderfully or that we know and we can predict all with certainty everything that's going to happen. No, there's still uncertainty. There's still doubt. There are still days of confusion. There are still days of challenge. But there's also, what's the word?
Joy.
There's definitely joy.
There's joy.
Definitely joy.
Peace. The burden
There's
is just
peace.
a little lighter.
Yes.
The
The burden
freedom-
is just a little
There's
lighter than
beauty
it
over
was
right.
before.
Yeah.
And it
A little
gets
bit lighter.
It gets lighter as time goes on.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because after you leave, then you keep on leaving.
You do.
There's the process of leaving before you leave, and
You
then
do.
you leave, and
Ooh,
you
pointing.
keep on
I like the
leaving.
Yeah.
You keep on. It's. I think leaving is a continue. Once you actually leave, leaving is a continual
The first
process in
leave
order to maintain.
It's a
joy and
catalyst for future leaving.
Come on, somebody.
Right.
Come
We
on.
need.
Right.
Every leave begets a leave.
Yeah.
Leaves beget leaves. Ooh, I like
And
that.
in the end, it's not like you keep peeling away until there's nothing. It actually gets brighter and greater
Yes.
and bigger as you peel away what's been keeping you bound. So you expand a little bit more with each leaving.
Yeah.
It's like you're taking off an armor that doesn't fit, and
Ah.
you expand greater than that.
Right.
Here's a quote I like. Misery can look beautiful on the outside.
I mean, we can dress up anything.
We can
believe
dress up
that.
anything.
But-
Misery can look beautiful on the outside. Here's some examples. Because it doesn't always look like misery, like what we might define as misery. Because misery, the definition we gave was discomfort, internal discomfort of mind and body. And so I might not be able to see your discomfort. You might just be sitting there uncomfortable, looking at your big house with your 3-4 cars in the garage and your designer labels and shoes and be hella miserable.
Right.
And from me looking in, you did the American dream thing.
Right.
You have a successful business and all of the material things, and you must be happy. You must be fulfilled. I mean, it looks like it, but nobody sees you drinking yourself to sleep at nighttime. Nobody sees you crying yourself to sleep at nighttime. Nobody sees that you're lonely because your husband is never there.
Right.
Nobody sees that you're sad because your children can't connect with you and you don't know them. Misery can look good on the outside. It can look beautiful. It can look successful. It can look like material things. It can look polished. It can look like our social media profiles with all of the filters. We could say a lot of things with a grin and a chuckle and a laugh and a ha-ha and still be really, really sad.
Right.
Really, really uncomfortable. Dealing with really, really toxic ways of thinking on the inside. We do a good job of hiding those things. And so it's girl, leave that misery, and girl, leave the masks that are covering the misery as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to deal with those pieces. I love studying, I love reading, I love learning. And when I moved out of the country, I immediately thought to myself, I'm going to go and do another degree because I'd just gone through a breakup. And I remember telling myself that a degree is not going to help this. Like a degree is not going to help you recover from this breakup. It's going to distract you. I knew that I was using the degree or the studying to help me overcome what I needed to walk through in terms of healing from the breakup. Right. So I had to go through attachment break recovery, if you will. That's what I call it. Breakup recovery. But I think that healing can be delayed when we distract ourselves with the things that we want to show other people to prove that we are not miserable, to prove that we're doing something in life, we're about something. I could be out here traveling and be like, oh, look at me all over the world. We're talking about looking good, but not actually being good. And so we want to make sure that our lives are good and that we're not just looking good. And again, misery can look good on the outside. Okay, I'm going to ask one other question, and then we're going to talk about the types of misery that we stay in. I love this question. What parts of our lives are actually healthy? And by healthy, I mean that they are flourishing, that they are nourished, and they are going the ways that we want them to be going. And that is all aspects. So our emotional lives, do we feel the way we want to feel? Our mental and psychological lives, are we thinking the way that we want to think? Our relationship lives, are our relationships the quality that we want them to be? Our spiritual lives, our financial lives, our occupational lives, all of the parts of our lives and the parts of who we are they actually reflecting health for us? Do we have a prototype? Do we have an ideal? Do we have something in our minds that define what health is? And are we living up to that? So that's the question. Think about the question. And then we're going to talk about the types of misery that women stay in. First one, relationship misery. Number one, relationship misery, where we feel uncomfortable, we feel alone, we are being mistreated, but we stay. We condone things that we know if we were to tell our friends, they would tell us very quickly,
girl, leave.
You understand? And if our friends were to tell us that kind of stuff, we would tell them,
hey, you better leave.
Right? Immediately, quickly, swiftly. Yes. My goodness. Why are we still there? Okay, so this is my story. I present as very confident. I present as assertive, maybe direct in my speech. I have found myself in 2 relationships in my life where I wondered, why are you taking this? Why are you taking this treatment? Why are you allowing this person to behave this way with you? Why aren't you speaking up? Why aren't you punching this person in the face? Maybe not punching them in the face, but why aren't you leaving? Why aren't you standing up for yourself, advocating for yourself? Why are you taking this blatant disrespect? Right. And I'm making excuses, and I am forgiving, yes, but forgiving in the not rectifying, setting boundaries, enforcing boundaries kind of way. So I believe in forgiveness. I believe in second chances and third chances and so on. And I believe everything deserves a conversation. Most things deserve a conversation, let me say it that way. But when it comes to certain types of behavior, like abusive behavior, I found myself taking abuse and wondering to myself, if anybody told you that this was happening in their relationship, you would tell them to leave immediately. Why are you sitting here making excuses for this person who doesn't deserve you and who you don't even like? What is that about? And I know I don't have a deep-seated fear of being alone. So I can't say that, okay, maybe it's that. And then I don't have an issue with being rejected by this person because I don't really like them. I really have to search. I really have to be like, why are you taking this behavior? Anyway, I have to do some deep soul searching. And I have not come up with an answer. That's the honest to gospel truth. I just know. I just didn't want to feel that way anymore. So I was like, girl, leave. Relationship misery. I'm going to give you 2 points. In the relationship, you keep hoping that they'll become something different or someone different. And it's been over 2 years. You feel lonely while you're sitting right beside the other person. Okay, these are some signs. Relationship misery. You keep asking for the bare minimum and thanking them when they give you crumbs. You spend more time recovering from the pain that they inflict than actually enjoying them and the relationship. Wow. You have to think about, like, how much of this relationship is really love? How much of the relationship is really fulfilling and enjoyable for me? Is this a partnership? Is this the kind of relationship I really want to be in? What is it doing to me, to my life? How is it affecting me, my personality, the way I think about myself? Relationship misery. The next one is friendship misery. This is what that gets overlooked because we focus a lot on romantic relationships. Sometimes our friendships we don't pour as much into. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she said, whenever my girlfriend finds a new boyfriend, all of a sudden I barely exist. Girl, leave. She said, girl, leave. But I mean, that's telling. It's telling about what you think about your friendships versus your romantic relationships. Check this. Friendships where you are always the one reaching out. Think about that. Friendships where you are the one who is leaving every conversation feeling drained. So you have to listen to whatever drama is going on in their lives. And I say drama, but here's the reality. Our friends are here for a reason. Right. And so when your friend is going through something, be there to listen to their drama. There's no cap on listening to drama. But if every single time you guys have a conversation, it is about what's going on in their lives and never about what's going on in your life, that is a flag. There might be some friendship misery there. Because if there's no space for you in the relationship, then what are you? It's a one-sided, like, it's tipping over. It's not even. It's not balanced. So there has to be room for both of your drama and likewise room for both of your celebrations and all the things that are happening in life. But be mindful of the distribution, let's say, the balance of space. Friendships where you celebrate them, but they compete with you.
Or they don't celebrate you at all.
Or they don't celebrate you. Listen carefully. Oh, girl, check this out. Yo, I just got this new job. Oh, yeah? How much are they paying you?
How much does it pay?
Yeah, right? Okay.
That's it?
That's nice.
Does
That's all?
Does at least have good benefits.
The minute you don't say yay, if your first response is not yes, girl.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Where am I taking you out? Let's celebrate.
Where are we going?
About time.
I need to celebrate you.
This needed to happen yesterday.
Right?
You've been waiting for this.
We've been waiting for
Come
this.
on. See, this is why these are my friends. You understand? Listen, you need to check the people that are around you. If people are not celebrating with you and they always, oh, what's going on? What's happening with that thing that went bad for you, that went terrible for you the other day? And they always want to remind you of the things and always want to find out this and the just take stock.
Leave them.
Girl, leave that misery alone.
They're not about you anyway.
Right. Like come on. No. Okay, friendships where they only call when they need something. Many of us have at least one example of that. But I think we notice that one really quickly. The person is calling and you get that sinking feeling in your stomach and you're like, oh man, they want money again or something. Yeah.
You missed the call on purpose.
Yeah, we block. Yes, we want to ask ourselves about those particular friendships and girl, leave that misery alone. Number 3, career misery. Let's talk about career misery. This is a job that you arrive at 9 a.m. and you're supposed to work till 5 p.m. And you start looking at the clock at 9:05.
Be the night
You start, you don't even want
before.
You're like, oh man, it's the night before. I got to go to work tomorrow. The job that pays you a lot of money, but it costs you your sense of well-being, your peace, your mental wellness. You're giving too much. It's too expensive. If it's costing you the breakdown of your physical body, but it's paying you enough to afford the house in the neighborhood. It's too costly because we only have one life. There's many houses. There are many neighborhoods. There are many jobs. But you only have one. You get one body. You get one of you to live this life. So if it's costing you your health, don't do it. The job where you're overworked, overlooked, underpaid, and constantly having to prove yourself, that they don't recognize your value, the value you bring to the table. Yeah, that's a job that you probably want to think about. Absolutely. And I know we can speak to this. I don't work for anybody anymore, but I used to, and I prefer working for myself. It is a different kind of challenge, but I do recognize the difference between working in an environment where I felt either oppressed, trapped, disregarded, disrespected, devalued every day, than grinding and hustling and struggling and going through challenges and facing different failures as an entrepreneur. So I've gone through the career misery 100%. Like my boss, don't get stuck here. I was actually stuck. That was the first time I went to therapy because I was stuck there.
I think also the career misery can be like the environment itself. It could definitely be like toxic work environment or a boss that doesn't recognize you or asks for way more than what you're being paid to ask for. I think sometimes also when the danger comes in is when the environment itself is not terrible.
Yeah.
When it is a good working environment, when you work well with the people around you.
Right.
It's true.
The pay might not be bad either.
Right.
But still you're miserable.
Yeah.
Because it's not what you want to be doing. There was another job that you actually really wanted, but this is the one you got and you thought okay, I'll only take this if it was a placeholder position. You know what? I do want to apply for school, but let me just get a job first. And then 1-2 years ended up to be 15, 20, and you never actually went back to school. Or maybe you moved with somebody and the relationship didn't survive, but the job did. And you just stayed at the job because why not? I don't hate it here, but actually it would serve you better to move somewhere else and get another job or whatever the case may be. I think that where the problem comes in is what we use to convince ourselves that it's really not that bad.
Yes, absolutely. That can be misery too. Settling, because we know when we're settling. We know.
Right.
We know when we want more, when we deserve more, when we're not going after the more that we want and know that we deserve. We know when we're settling, and that feeling sucks.
Right.
Like, I know that I could do more, but
Leaving is uncomfortable,
yes.
but discomfort
It's
promotes
also
growth.
uncomfortable. Well, yeah, you can't grow unless you're uncomfortable.
Can't grow unless you're uncomfortable.
That's why they call it growing pains.
Yeah.
I think you have to choose your discomfort. You're uncomfortable in growing,
Yes.
and you're comfortable in making the hard decisions that will yield better fruit in the long run,
Right.
or you're going to be uncomfortable in settling somewhere where you know
regret.
is barren land, and it's becoming far more and more barren as time goes on, because you've already gleaned what you needed from this environment.
Yeah.
And because you've already it served its purpose a long time ago and it ran out a long time ago. Now you're just miserable.
Yeah.
Now you're just uncomfortable, but to no productive end.
Jeez. Woo! Yep. The season that never ends.
The never-ending story.
Guys, we don't want that to be your story,
Yes,
girl.
that
Leave
should
that
be
misery
your
alone.
That never ends.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh,
it
just goes on and
my
on.
life, right.
No.
Some people started singing it,
Not knowing what it was.
Dun, dun,
They'll
dun.
continue singing it forever.
Just because they didn't get a girl. Leave summons in their inbox. Girl,
We're sending it right
leave. If you have this, God loves you. God loves you, and He's telling you
now.
to
For real,
leave.
for real.
Seriously,
Leave.
leave.
There's more free. There's more than
So
this.
much more on the other side of leaving. Internal misery. Habits, self-talk, labels. I'm a people pleaser. I'm a perfectionist. I'm this, I'm that, I'm the next thing. Leave. Out. Get that out of the way. Anxiety. This is like a big thing. There's a difference between everyday living anxiety, like just,
Being anxious.
yeah, and like debilitating,
Anxiety.
life-hindering, life-interfering anxiety. Ooh, you had a thought?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just agreeing with that. I think that the everyday, we always come across something that pushes up against the boundaries of what we think is possible. It's just the human experience.
You think?
As certain people, when you push up against the boundaries of what their reality is, about what they think is possible, your response might be excitement. Oh my gosh, I wonder. Or it might be anger. Like, who are you to tell me what's possible and what's not possible? I will determine that for myself. But I also think fear masquerades as many different things. Sometimes it masquerades as wisdom. Sometimes it masquerades anger. Sometimes it's just outright fear and it shows its face and we can recognize that's what it is. So I don't think it's necessarily being anxious about a thing is a bad thing necessarily. I think it is part of us as humans. The fear of the unknown is real. So being presented with a new option and not knowing what that means for your life, what it means for those who you love, if you have children, not children, whatever, how it impacts your life, and not being sure about how it will change your life, I don't think it's a bad thing to be concerned about that.
No, not at all.
I
It's not.
think but that is the difference. Normal fear, normal everyday anxious feelings versus I literally can't move from where I'm sitting right now because the fear of what is on the other side is all I can't hear anything. I don't know if anybody's ever had a moment where when I was younger, I definitely struggled with anxiety without having the language for it. But I would be confronted with moments where the sound would fade to like white noise. Like I can't hear anything. I'm focusing on the one thing that is giving me fear right now. I can't see anything else. I can't hear anything. My body is frozen in time. Like that to me is real anxiety where you can't do anything else but focus on the source of what is bringing fear to you right now. For some people, that moment will last a few moments until they're able to breathe their way out of it or whatever the case may be. Some people are frozen in time for days, months, years.
Oh my gosh. That's internal misery.
Yes.
Because it's like you're flinched or glitched and you just sort of stay in that position.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's painful. It's painful. But I think the point here is to recognize appropriate anxiety versus misery.
Yeah.
Internal misery, inability to rest, and I think we'll leave it there for today. For internal misery, that's number 4. So those are the kinds of miseries that are existing and that we need to leave. When it comes to the end of today's wonderful conversation, I think it's important to call ourselves to account. And the way that we call ourselves to account is by asking ourselves questions and answering truthfully. So I have my little journal over there. Like I journal every single day and ask myself questions about what's true and what's real in my life. And sometimes the answers are painful because I have to admit to myself, like, why am I staying here? Why am I doing this? It's costing me my joy. It's costing me my peace. It's costing me money. It's costing me time. Time is a big deal. It's costing me time. Some questions about the leaving process, questions for reflection. What are you tired of pretending doesn't bother you?
Come on now.
What are you tired of pretending doesn't bother you?
We're here all night.
What are you grieving that you haven't admitted yet? What are you grieving that you have not admitted yet?
Even to yourself.
What keeps hurting you that you keep calling fine? Like, oh, it's fine. Oh, it's okay. And this goes for all aspects and levels. So what's happening with other people, what's happening within yourself. Sometimes I tell myself, like, oh, it's fine. Or I might minimize things, but it's not. And my body is telling me that it's not. Or my tears are telling me that it's not. Or the fact that it's been on my mind for the last 3 weeks straight every day is telling me that it's not. It's not fine. There's something that needs to be addressed, and your brain and your body and everything else around you is calling your attention to it. What would your life look like if you stopped betraying yourself to keep other people comfortable? This is you deciding what you want and then moving towards it in spite of what other people might think, perceive, or expect from you. And that's really hard. I love this one. What if peace is not something you find, but it's something you create by leaving the thing that's harming you? What if peace is not something that you find, but it's something that you create by leaving the thing that is harming you? And I'm going to extrapolate by leaving the person, place, or thing that is harming you. Okay? So those are questions to ask yourself. And girl, leave that misery alone. You deserve better. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to experience joy. You deserve to pursue peace. You deserve and are worthy of all things good. You deserve to feel proud of yourself, to feel confident in your capacity. With every day, with every step that you take, it becomes clearer and you become stronger and you become more able. Your capacity increases. We're here. We're rooting for you. We're like girl leave cheerleaders. We should do a girl leave cheer or something. We should create one. Oh, wait, we have one.
Leave.
Girl leave.
That's the
Right?
cheer.
Girl leave. We're
Girl
here
leave.
cheering you on. Girl leave.
Girl, leave.
So thank you guys so much for being with us.
Kalenia.
Kalenia,
Let's bring up my name.
Girl Candy.
Candy, and I'm your host, Genevieve. We are here, girl leaving every day, all day, and we're about it. Let us know your story. And we are literally rooting for you. And not just rooting for you, we are praying for you.
Yeah.
Right.
We're praying for you as well because we know that being stuck or trapped in a situation is not God's best for you. It is not. God actually calls us to leave oppressive situations. So the whole Bible is about leaving oppression.
That's right.
I promise you. Okay? If you didn't hear it before, you heard it here from me. Next week on the relationship series, we're going to be talking about girl, leave that mediocrity alone. Because who wants to be mediocre?
The ordinary just won't do.
Ordinary just won't do. Yeah. Because nobody ever talked about average people in history.
Average people make history.
Exactly. We're going to talk about it next week on the relationship series. I am Genevieve. I'm your host, and it is an honor to transform with you.